Yo guys, what is up? 33 and a third RPM here, back today to talk about another album review. First off, this meant to come out earlier. I'm sorry, I know I said a long time ago, a couple months ago, this is going to be posted like the week this album came out or something, but conflicts came up. I got really sick. I'm sorry if I sniffle during this video or if my voice sounds off, it's because I've been quite sick. Meanwhile, I'm just pushing through making these videos because love talking about this stuff. To the two people who told me I should talk about it, this is my Revolution Radio shirt from the Green Day concert that I went to last Friday. There it is, tours in the back. Oh, it was awesome. It was a great show, best show I've ever seen. They just kicked the concert's ass. It was awesome. Talk about it more when I review Revolution Radio. I've pre-ordered the red vinyl when it comes out, so that's obviously not going to come for a couple weeks when it gets shipped to me, but I have a digital version of the album that Green Day is going to send me when, like, on the 7th when it drops or something, so I'll talk about that briefly. Then I'll probably show the vinyl in a future video or something. Hopefully Green Day reviews will get posted soon. Anyway, we're not talking about Green Day today, we're talking about Bastille, one of my favorite bands. If you didn't know, Green Day is my favorite band. I have a couple, bands that are all I consider my favorite bands, but, not as holy as Green Day in my eyes. Bastille is one of them. Their last album, Bad Blood, absolutely blew me away. So when they announced they were releasing Wild World this year, I was super excited. I listened to the singles, my last video, Good Grief, my Good Grief track review got a ton of views. Thank you for everybody who watched that. I was super hyped. This is actually one of the albums where I actually have notes this time about stuff. So if you see me like glancing down a bunch, it's because of notes. Sorry, I'm trying to get better at this. A lot of my stuff's just off the cuff. But I tried filming this once with just normally how I talk about albums, and it didn't feel right. So this is a long album. I listened to the completed version. I don't have the vinyl or the CD on me. I got it from iTunes. What's called the complete edition or something on there, and it's 19 tracks long, which is insane. Bastille just cranks out music. But anyway, we're just going to go through track by track and briefly talk about them. However, I'm going to warn you right off, I didn't like a majority of songs on this project, and I don't really have a lot to say about a lot of them. So the ones I don't have a lot to say about, I'll just say that are boring, because a lot of the songs in this I feel are just kind of boring and bland. So if I just say boring, just know that I think it's boring and that it doesn't bring anything new to the table. Let's start off with track 1, Good Grief. If you didn't know, I love this song. I think it's a great opener to this album. I think it's a great single. It's peppy. It's got a little bit of a punch to it with the drums, especially in the beginning and that weird little vocal sample. It's a great song, great single. Got me really hyped for this album. It's the first track on here. The second track is called The Currents, and this is what's going to be the first theme of this album, is power ballads and ballads in general. Bastille did it a little bit on their last album with songs like Oblivion, but on this album, the majority of the songs here are ballads or power ballads with a punchy chorus or something. Really no songs sound like Good Grief on the rest of this project, with the exception of maybe Ship Them Off, which is a great song, by the way. Sorry, Send Them Off. I love the verses on The Currents, like the subtle back-in vocals that come in and just kind of, oops, there you go, my phone's getting low on battery when I'm recording. The subtle back-in vocals that come in really do a lot for this track, and the pounding strings that drive Dan Smith's vocals home are really cool, but otherwise, I don't know, it doesn't do much for me. The chorus is super catchy, but, it's a good song. It's one of the better songs on here, I'll say that. An Act of Kindness is the next track on here, track 3, and honestly, I thought this was a Weeknd song the first time I heard it, with the exception, obviously, of Dan Smith, but the instrumental sounds exactly like The Weeknd to me. Even if you go and listen to Dan Smith's lyrics, I think this is pulled straight out of a Weeknd song or something. I honestly thought I was listening to a track off his new album, Starboy, which is coming out, which, by the way, that track with Daft Punk was pretty cool. I like that beat. Shout out to Daft Punk. Next song on here is Warmth. This is track 4. The verses are okay. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes with the chorus. And then the chorus has this wall of sound that just hits me and really ruins any potential I had for the rest of the song. It just kind of does nothing for me, and I really don't think that it's that good of a song for that. Track 5 on here is Glory, and this song is boring. So that's all I have to say for that one, is boring. Track 6 on here is Power, and this is a great song, I think. this chorus just kicks ass. It's like funky, but ironically enough, it is just powerful, like the song's title. The funky guitar on here, which is going to come back, especially in the later half of this album, is awesome, and it's just this background for the rest of this track that goes through the entire thing, and you're kind of head bobbing along the entire time I heard this. Like, a track that's named Power needs to live up to its name, like Kanye's Power, but this one definitely does it, but in a different way. You know, it's about a woman holding power over Dan Smith. It's cool, I like it. Next song, track 7, is Two Evils, and that song is boring. It's a ballad. I think it's boring. Don't like it. Next song is Send Them Off, which, good grief, used to be, I thought was going to be my favorite song on here until I heard Send Them Off, which is another single. I absolutely adore this song. I think it is the best song on here. The chorus soars, and the horns add this really super touch to close the chorus where they have like 3 or 4 notes. They really seal the chorus into a nice package and go back into the verses. The verses are quiet enough so that when the chorus hits, it really feels like a real impact. And that's one of the things that I think is lacking on the rest of this album, is that there's not enough impact or payoff when the chorus comes around, which I was super excited to see on this song. It's one of the only songs that I feel like would have fit on Bad Blood if I could have put it in somewhere there. And the bridge where the horns take over the entire melody after the second verse, oh, that's good stuff. This is a great song. My favorite song on here, and a very, very good song. Next track is Lethargy on here. I don't really like the chorus on that. I don't know why. It just didn't really stick with me, or I don't know. I didn't really remember it afterwards, but I really like the verses. This spacey sounding synth that kind of lifts Dan Smith's vocals to the next level on the verses is really awesome. However, on the flip side, I think his vocals are one of the weakest performances that he's had on this album. He cries "whoa" like a multitude of times, and it just really feels weak on this album for me. So like, it's a good verse, but like bad chorus and weak vocal performances, it's kind of a hit or miss. Next song on here is Four Walls, the Ballad of Perry Smith, and this gets the award for weirdest title, and this track is boring. It's just boring. Wish I could say more. It's boring. The next song on here is Blame. So this is a great instrumental. I love this. The snaps, which are going to come in a couple more songs, are really cool. They make for a great effect on the chorus, but once again, Dan Smith's vocals just feel weak on the verses, and it reminds me too much of that Calvin Harris song from a couple years ago called Blame, which I didn't like either, so there you go. Maybe it's like a curse naming your song Blame. Fake It is the next track on here, which is one of the singles before. I actually tried making a track review, but it didn't upload, so there you go. I'll just say my opinion now. I love this song. I think it is the best example of the ballad on this album. There's a ton of ballads. I think this is the best example of it. The booming bass on the bridge just sounds eerie and awesome, which perfectly fits the tone of the song. And the drums really come in full force on the second verse of the song, kind of punctuating Dan Smith. And honestly, that's the first time I kind of noticed the drums in this album. They don't really get placed towards the front of the mix or the sound stage in this album, but they really do come here, and when they hit hard. Great song. Definitely the best like ballad, if you want to call that, on here. Fake It. Great song. Next song is Snakes on here, and I wrote down in my notes, hand claps can't save everything. This song is boring. There you go. I don't think I have to say much more than that. The next song is Winter of Our Youth. I said it was going to come back, so here you go. The funky guitar is back. The instrumental is awesome, with the guitar in the front of the mix and the drums punctuating the verses with subtle yet cool fills that are very laid back and not really nothing fancy or loud, but really do a cool effect for the song. However, once again, my problem with this track is Dan Smith. It's kind of a melancholy song, or at least the vocals and the lyrics are, but it has this happier tone and more of an upbeat message. Like, would have benefited this track more. I know Bastille isn't really a band to make like uplifting messages in their songs or something. A lot of their songs are very, I don't want to say depressing, but sad, or deal with darker topics or something, but I really feel like a happier song could have lifted this song to the next level, especially with this instrumental. Otherwise, it's just kind of for me. Way Beyond is the next song on here, and it's funky, and I like funk. It's got this really cool groove on here, but there's this thing that sounds like a bagpipe or something on the choruses, and oh my god, it's awful. It punctuates this, like, I don't even say punctuates, it's just this constant stream of noise in the choruses, these like 4 notes that repeat, and it's awful. I wish I could like say that it could salvage the song, but it honestly ruins it for me. It gives me a headache every time I listen to it. it's a shame right there. Next song is called Oil on Water, and this song is boring. I feel like I'm going into a needle drop thing where he just says not good. Next song on here is Campus, and I feel like I should like this song like more than I do, honestly. I feel like it has elements that will pull me in and be like, look, it's Bastille, you like it, but honestly, I just don't like it. It's boring. The chorus is kind of annoying too. Afterwards, there's like this little chipmunk vocal effect, and I don't know, not feeling it. Next song on here is Shame, and Shame makes me sad. Shame on you, Bastille, for this song. The build-up on this song is wasted. These verses are awesome, and there's this build-up for this big, pounding chorus. I literally was sitting there the first time I heard this going like this, hit me, hit me. I just wanted this chorus to come in and slam me hard. Even something like, you know, the drums from Pompeii, the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. How my voice sounded weird. Just the pounding effect of that chorus that Bastille has done before, and it didn't. It just feels weak, and it's an average chorus. Like, it's not bad. It's not annoying. It just let me down because the verses build up to such a great, you know, spectacular, magnificent thing that would have been probably the highlight of this album for me. But it just let me down. Like, it's okay in the end. It's just wasted potential. The last song on here, track 19, holy cow, is called The Anchor. It is Dan Smith's definitely best vocal performance on this album, and it's a pretty good representation of this album as a whole. There are good moments, but the rest of it is just kind of boring. The horns on this album, whenever they're brought on this album, are a great touch. They provide cool texture, but honestly the rest of the song is just kind of bland. There are good, like I said, good moments, but otherwise not great. So yeah, those are my thoughts for this album. I honestly don't know where I sit overall with the feeling of this album. It's just kind of boring, the majority of it. The singles I all thought were great. Good Grief, Send Them Off, and Fake It are all awesome songs and definitely the best moments on here. But otherwise, I can't say much for any of the other songs on here. I'm gonna have to sit with this album with like a 5 out of 10, honestly. Doesn't do much for me anyway, and you know, let's just pray this is a sophomore slump for Bastille. They're going to come back hitting hard with their third release. Anyway, thank you guys for watching so much. I will be cranking out videos. There will be like a stream of videos in the next couple of days where I'm going to review every Green Day thing. I might even post some more videos today that I have in my collection. I'll post every Green Day thing I have in my collection before Revolution Radio comes out to get that going. So I can talk about that because I'm super hyped for that album. I love all the singles off there, but that's to talk about for a different time. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this album in the comments. I know a lot of subscribers that I have are Bastille fans. I'm sorry if I angered you. But yeah, please don't get too mad at me. Like I said, good songs in this album, but overall can't save it. 5 out of 10. Yeah, like I said, sorry, I'm just repeating myself. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I am 33 1/3 RPM, and until next time, guys, keep on spinning.